Well, we've gotten a little bit bigger out here on Beaver Lake.
Outdoors in the Bluegrass is brought to you by the Brooklyn Kayak Company.
What's going on, everybody? It's Tyler Feaster with Outdoors in the Bluegrass. We're out at Beaver Lake today. The conditions are not perfect, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a chilly March day, cloudy, front running in, north winds, just not the best conditions. Plus, we recently had all those rains and where it's been flooding, and Beaver Lake finally got down to a sustainable level of water. They brought it down, it came up, and then it came back down again, and finally got to a decent clarity level. So we're going to take the Brooklyn Kayak out today. It's its first fishing adventure. So today is all about challenges at Beaver Lake. One, we're going to get in the kayak. That's a challenge because I've never really fished out of a kayak before. Two, we got the weather conditions that are challenging. And three, we have no idea what to do. We're going to check out the Garmin Fish Finder here, kind of see where they're laying, pick a couple baits. I went ahead and put a jig on. I went ahead and put a rooster tail on. I got my Texas rig set up, and I got a crankbait on, square bill 2.5. So we're going to start out with those and kind of pick and choose and kind of see what they're leaning towards, and see if we can get into a couple fish today and see what we got. All right, we got the yak all rigged up. Let's push it into the water, set sail, see if we can catch some fish. Nice. Another tiny little one. Well, we've gotten a little bit bigger out here on Beaver Lake. Caught another one on that little white spinnerbait. I tell you, like I said, Beaver Lake's been fickle this year, but it's still early and water temperatures are at 48 degrees, so not a big one, but it's the biggest one so far. Beautiful out here, absolutely beautiful. Best thing to do is really just stay back in these coves, stay away from this wind. I'll tell you what, Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources has really done a good job on the rehabilitation of this lake. Yeah. Oh yeah. I tell you what, this Still not a big one, but bigger than the others. I tell you what, we've had a challenging day, but a fun day on Beaver Lake today. We always have fun on Beaver Lake. I wanted to come out here today, you know, to challenge myself and to show what we do in the face of challenges. Number one, the first challenge was being in a kayak. I've never really fished in a kayak before, so that was challenge number one, and dealing with the wind. We had a nice brisk 8 mile, 9 mile an hour wind, and the conditions weren't perfect. I mean, it's a cold March day, north winds. We've had a lot of rain recently. The lake was up, and it was muddy, and so a lot of the lake levels have just come down. The mud's just starting to clear up, and of course the water temperatures are still hovering around that 47, 48 degree mark. And we've got another cold front coming in that's just pressuring right on us right now. So what we came to do was we used our fish finder to kind of figure out where the fish were sitting, how they were sitting, and then you just got to pick it apart. I mean, use your water clarity and how the water's moving and the temperature and things like that to kind of determine what kind of bait you want to use. And I really figured to be the slow roll, using the jig or a worm or something. We even tried a crankbait, trying to cover a wide open space, and it just didn't really seem to pan out. So just threw a rooster tail, and I snagged a small one. So I just kind of figured that maybe it was the blade and the movement that was actually getting them today, and it was. I threw on that little white spinnerbait and connected, a couple more times. So we had a lot of fun, but that's what you got to do, is you kind of got to pick it apart and trial and error and see how things go, especially when you're in not the greatest of conditions for fishing. So we had a lot of fun. We got a lot more fun to come this year on Outdoors in the Bluegrass, baby. We hope you enjoyed this little segment, and we'll bring you a whole lot more. So we're going to go take the kayaks in, load it up in the truck, head back to the house, get something to eat, baby. That's all she wrote for Beaver Lake today, baby. Good time kayaking out on the Brooklyn Kayaks. Good time bass fishing in chilly, crappy weather. See you again on Outdoors in the Bluegrass. Well, with the weather sucking the way it's been sucking, we decided that we'd come to the Louisville Slugger Museum today and get out with the family and enjoy some indoor-outdoor activities. So we're going to go around and see what we can find in here. It's pretty cool. No, you got to wait until we're done.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first call for the 335 Factory Tour. Got a white ticket reading 335. Join us, H&B Mill Room, far right corner of the museum, under a red additional clock. First call, 335.
Film the factory tour. That's too bad. We just can't take cameras in there, so we'll tell everybody about it when we're done with the factory tour. So the tour was awesome. I highly recommend it. And you get a free bat at the end of it. The tour is cool. Definitely need to go on the factory tour. Let's go, you want to do the batting cages? Let's do the batting cages. Chicken Daddy doing the batting cages because him hasn't batted in forever.
I have 2 bats.
I'd be scared to miss all 10 of them too. Hard not to buy something in the gift shop. Too cool. Well, that's it for Louisville Slugger Museum and tour. It's pretty cool.
Now me some baseball.
And it's much better than sitting in the house in the rain. So if you enjoy baseball or anything cool, come out. Enjoy it. We sure as heck did.
Basketball's better though.
Didn't know what he's talking
Stephen
about.
Curry.
Well, we all know how crappy the weather's been this year, preventing us from doing all the outdoor stuff we love to do. So we're going to go talk to the source. That's right, we've been invited to LEX 18 Studio to have a little chat with Chief Meteorologist Bill Meck. So we're getting ready to head there now. Awesome was that? We get to watch the newscast now.
Right now on Evening Edition, it was indeed a tornado. The latest on
The state of the ball game, why not? We've seen just about everything else, and this will just be the cap off to the week. We have the winter storm watch that is in effect for tomorrow night into Saturday morning, and it does cover most of the area, almost all of it. Southern
firefighters say they originally responded to treat the victim for his injuries, but he later died. The coroner has not released the man's identity or
We are thinking spring. We are trying to will spring here. We're doing everything humanly possible to bring spring in, up to and including starting springtime events like Thursday Night Live. Now you are looking live down there from our WeatherBug camera. That's located at 21C Museum and Hotel. And that is looking down at Thursday Night Live. This is a view we will be able to give. The whole reason why we put this camera there was so we can look down on Thursday Night Live. We're getting a lot of the courthouse stuff cleaned up, so the space a little bit bigger. Now, it's a cold night. It's chilly out there, and you're in the shade of the buildings. So a jacket if you were headed down there for the next little bit. There's snow potential that lasts into the morning hours of Saturday, and the whole system slides to the east. I think by the time we're at the Bluegrass Stakes, it'll be dry. It's just going to be really cold. The snow chances are going to be primarily in the morning. Anderson County Middles and South Street. What grade are you in now? Fourth. This was the first year in like 10 years that the fourth grade teacher at Saffel Street didn't call me to come in and talk to the class up there. But I came to your class? Yep. I didn't get a call from them this year. So I was supposed to go to Turner about 3 weeks ago, but it was one of the snow days.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's one more running on here somewhere. So about a dozen different computers, each one doing a different job and helping us to get everything out on the air. But again, we are computer heavy back here, which is the nature of the beast at this point.
How's it going, everybody? It's Tyler Feaster with Outdoors in the Bluegrass, and look who I have here with us today. LEX 18's Chief Meteorologist, Bill Meck. How awesome is that? Thank you so much.
Good to see you, Tyler. Thank you for coming in.
We appreciate you having us. Well, everybody who's going to watch this is going to be completely upset with the weather and the snow coming and all the rain we've had and complaining about how it's ruined fishing and everything else. We've got youth.
I complain for everything else, so why not that too? So go ahead.
That's no problem. I mean, so we've had a huge amount of rain this year.
In fact, our February and March were among our top 5 wettest that we have ever had. February was the wettest, so
yeah.
And March was another very wet month, and we run out of places to put the water. So that's the problem we've run into.
Yeah, it's been devastating for the fishing. We got the white bass run. It's like one of the hugest things in Anderson County, and the river is just maintained just raging high, muddy, flooding. So it's a question of whether we're going to be able to fish for the white bass run this year or not.
When is that?
Generally, it's getting ready to start kicking in right now. First to the middle of April. But I was down at Salt River the other day, and
it's still real. Yeah,
it's bad,
and it's not going to get better. Give it another week, we'll start to maybe change this pattern.
Good.
So as we get into the middle of April, maybe we start looking more springy.
So there's
like
hope.
We did in February.
Yeah, like we did in February, exactly. Well, one of the biggest things with the outdoors is every time I go out fishing, hunting, and pretty much everybody that I know, the first thing we think about is the weather.
Yeah.
It's the first thing we look at. And it seems that the trends kind of follow with hunting and fishing, believe it or not. And it always seems to have something to do with fronts. The north wind seems to kind of shut everything down as far as fishing goes in regards to barometric pressure. What are we looking at? I mean, when I just look at the wind and I'm like, yeah, here comes the front. Everything's ruined.
As a cold front is approaching, you've got winds generally south-southwest ahead of the front. And the barometric pressure also before a cold front comes is dropping. So how that plays into the fishing, I'm not quite sure. But as the cold front goes by, your winds will shift west or northwest. Sometimes they'll go all the way around to the northeast. But barometric pressure tends to rise then after the cold front goes by.
Okay.
So how that affects the fishing and all that, because everything's all related.
It is.
And so, you guys, the outdoors folks know better than I do the weather part of it. I let you guys handle how the actual real world effects actually come into play.
Yeah, and when that barometric pressure tanks, so does the fishing. And right before it, it's great. It's like everything wants to move, and it's like they know it's coming.
They know something's coming up there.
So.
Which, given though the density of water, it's hard. That just that little bit of change in air pressure, it has that great an effect on it. But I'm sure in the shallow water, perhaps it'll be the bigger case.
It must be. I mean, for us, we come up with all kinds of excuses when we don't catch fish.
Well, weather prediction, I come up with all kinds of excuses too.
But yeah, I mean, but my father always said, he goes, the winds out of the south, it's open mouth. Winds out of the west is the best. Winds out of the east is the least. And winds out of the north, don't even bother going north.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we follow. But I mean, it's neither here nor there, but it seems to be pretty good with me, and it seems to follow those cold fronts with that barometric pressure dropping. It just seems to really take a huge hit.
So then with all the cold fronts we've had March into the first part of April, I'm guessing it hasn't been too good for you then.
No, it hasn't. I mean, and most of the time we can't even get out to the waterways anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just, Taylorsville's been horrific. The Ohio River, I mean, obviously Louisville was flooded like crazy. So it's been just terrible. Yeah. But we'll get there, right? We'll get there eventually.
We always do.
Even with a potential record snowfall for this time of year coming up.
See, potential is the key word, and that's models giveth, models taketh away.
Right.
So I'm not one to put a number on a snow forecast until 24, 36 hours out. Even in January, it's sometimes can be a foolhardy proposition. In April, it's silly to do it. But,
yeah.
There is some accumulating snow potential. And for Lexington, in terms of weather records, all we need is an inch.
and it's a top 10 snow event in April.
Wow.
Just an inch is all it takes. And
Okay.
so that's certainly still a possibility for us.
Okay, good deal. All right, well, there you have it. Things are going to get better. And
They
got
will get better. They always do.
Good, good. And we've got some more information from the weather standpoint, because I know all of you do the same thing I do. First thing we do is hit the weather before we decide to do anything, and some of us just ignore the weather completely and go out and fish in the snow.
And what they, there's this thing called ice fishing too, so you can,
You should check out one of our videos when I went out in February and walked on Beaver Lake with a buddy of mine, and the snow started cracking. We started running.
yeah.
Probably wasn't the smartest idea. Don't walk on the ice. Not a bad idea. But I don't want to take up any more of your time.
All right.
You have one. Thank you so much. We really, really
Glad you were
appreciate
able to
it.
come in here today. So yeah, enjoy your time outdoors.
Thank you. We'll see y'all soon. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Outdoors in the Bluegrass. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you really enjoyed yourself. We've got a lot more fun adventures coming for you this year in Season 2. So, get outdoors and enjoy the time with family and friends, and just absolutely soak in the up-and-coming sun that we all know is coming. And we'll see you again on Outdoors in the Bluegrass.